Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a simple wrapped cabochon pendant, and I'm going to be using a 40 by 30 millimeter acrylic cameo cabochon. It's got a flat back. I got this one from firemountaingems.com, but you could also use a here I have a 30 by 22 millimeter cabochon. You could use just whatever you have laying around, I suppose. And I'm going to be using 20 gauge non-tarnished silver wire. And tools that you'll want to have on hand are nylon jaw pliers, round nose pliers, flat nose pliers, and flush cutters or wire snips. Also a mandrel or a pen for making the bail. Now you'll want to take your nylon jaw pliers and get off a section of wire about 12 to 14 inches long and straighten it with the pliers. You could also do this with like a piece of heavy material, just like holding it between your hands and pulling it, but I prefer to use the pliers because it's just convenient and effective. Okay. So now you'll take your wire and compare it up against, the cabochon, and then kind of hold it firmly with your thumb, and about a centimeter down from the top of the cabochon, grip it with the flat nose pliers and bend it at a 90-degree angle. And then I turn it around, upside down, and again about a centimeter down, I grab the wire again with my flat nose pliers and bend it 90 degrees in the other direction so that it's like this. Now from here, you'll grip it with your thumb and move the wire around the cabochon to across the back so that it looks like that in the front. And at this point you can take the cabochon away and just kind of wrap that wire once like that. And then I put the cabochon back in. And then from there, you'll hold it pretty firmly again and do the same thing to the other end. And slide the cabochon out and wrap it once around again. So here you can see what I did. You can see where I did these wrapped just on either end. And now from here you can just kind of insert the cameo back in, and you can see it's pretty loose. And so you'll flip it over, and here again you can see what I did. And at this point you'll take the flat nose pliers again, grip it very firmly on that center wire, and then bend it. This twisting motion cinches the wires down so that it holds the cabochon very firmly. Then I like to kind of shape it just a bit with my fingers. Okay, so from here, and this one's just going to be a very, very simple one. I make sure the wires are nice and straight, and I just bring it around, and you can tuck this wire through right there, and grip it and pull it through, and then you just make kind of a loop. You'll loop it around, and again you'll want to make sure it's nice and straight. And here I use my thumbnail to run along the inside of the wire to give it a bit of an arc. And I'm just going to leave that one like that for now. And then for this one along the back, I'm going to bring it around. And this one I'm going to hook on the front, if the wire will fit. There we go. And pull it through and around to give it some more of a decorative loop. And now this one I'm going to hook through the back. Now at this point I start using my pliers. So you can see how that's looking so far. And then now from here, once you get that basic frame where it's holding the top and bottom done, everything from there is purely decorative, so you can do whatever you feel like. And if you want it more swirly and decorative, you can put more wire on it. You know, I used a minimum of 12 inches. And I probably should have given myself a little bit more room, you know, wiggle room. But if you're working with like something more expensive like Argentinium or sterling silver, or, you know, you can just do a decorative little swirl there. And I'm going to do my last embellishment up here. And I'm just going to okay, so there is a very basic cabochon setting. From here you can modify it into a brooch with a one of those pin backs that you can either epoxy it on or wire wrap it. But I'm going to show you how to make the dangly bail that I used on this one. That way it's free hanging. And so you'll want to use a bit more of your 20 gauge wire, probably about 3 to 4 inches. And then on my round nose pliers, I grip it about halfway, and I just manipulate the wire around it. You can see what I did there to make a loop in the wire. And then from here, and this can get kind of tricky getting the wire to lay properly, but and I'm not certain on the measurements of this mandrel, but on the second one in from the end, I just kind of, I'm going to pin the wire against it and wrap it around so that it makes a complete loop around on either side. That way whenever you take it off, you can see your bales starting to form. And now I take my wire snips and, like, here's the loose end. I'm going to come up to about here. Let me adjust my focus. Okay. I'm going to come up to here and snip. And then I'm going to turn it around for on the other end. And I'm going to snip. And now here you can take your flat nose or bent nose or what have you. And I'm just going to take it and split it. You can see how it opens up right there. And this is where you hook the pendant on so that it'll be dangling. And I'm going to give this wire a bit of a point, just using my mandrel, so that the bale will have a point, you know, to sit in. So you hook that through, like so. And you can take your pliers and pinch that first loop together and separate the bale, like the loops of the bale. And now you'll want to tuck your ends by gripping it and just tucking it in like that. And then the same thing on the other side, you just grip it and tuck it in. So there you are. And these are some other examples of things that I've made using this method. This one is blue lace agate in non-tarnished silver wire. And I'll show you the back. Well, my tag's in the way, but like here you can see on the back. And I use that same free bale. And then on this one, it's a sand dollar wrapped in vintage bronze wire. And then this one I got really fancy on. I used 2 colors of wire. I used non-tarnished brass and non-tarnished copper in square and round with carnelian. So you can be as ornate or as simple with this as you would like to be. I really hope this tutorial was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please, feel free to contact me. And you can see our store online at backtoearthcreations.com. And oh, find us on DeviantArt too. We're always doing crazy things on there.